spend me some time and lift up the blinds and be something new to arrive, but I don't know how not to lead, and I've always succeeded with only 2 feet, and a +1 terrifies me.
Lena Fine, 20 years old, from New Jersey, been living in Philly for the past 2 years, and yeah, I make music and yeah. Yeah, so dance partner, I mean, I just wrote it, I think I wrote it in like 3 months into the pandemic. And nothing in the song is like a completely like new or revolutionary sentiment in the sense that it's like, you know, like the idea of someone or something is like all that you can really kind of like look and hope for. But I think just like in that moment, it was like very acute in that it was like, I am so bored all the time and there's nothing to do and everything is just like kind of terrible and very scary. And wouldn't it be nice if just like one person could like fix all of it? And then that song is just kind of like putting all of the eggs into like that imaginary basket. And yeah, I was thinking about it like with that song specifically and just like a lot of the other songs that I wrote during the pandemic, and like in the moment it was like very real and very true, and just like now that we're kind of coming out of the pandemic, how real are those feelings still? And I hope that there's a lot in Dance Partner that's more universal than just like everyone's in a pandemic and we're just all stuck inside and like idealizing and romanticizing the idea of like that other. But yeah, at the time when I was writing it, it was really just like, give me like anything that is more exciting than this. So I like wrote it around the structure of a waltz. I remember like, I think like the day that I started writing it, I had just finished the before like sunset, sunrise, midnight trilogy, and like in the second to last movie, like at the very end, she like plays this like kind of like bad waltz, but I was like, oh, I should like play around with that, like that seems fun. And then so that's how I got just like the movement of it, I guess. And then I just wrote it around like that structure and like the energy of a waltz. And then it was also just like, it all kind of like fit into place after that with like Dance Partner, like it's like written as a dance piece kind of. And then my brother produced the song. So I recorded it with him, and that was just like what we both were kind of like keeping in mind throughout like the production of the song was like, okay, like let's tie it back. Let's always have that like base level of like, it could be a waltz if it wanted to, because it was kind of written around that, so yes. Yeah, I think, so I wrote Growing Pains like junior into senior year of high school, and it was really just like about graduating high school and like leaving that behind. And so I think for me, that was just like a nice little, like, it wrapped everything that I had made so far, which like was just all in high school, like into like a nice little neat package. So then the stuff that I'm writing now, I have tried to like completely separate from that, just because it's like, I'm really proud of that work that I did, but also like it's a completely different part of my life. Like that's just like I fully was just in high school, and like now I'm like growing up and I'm like becoming like a real person. And I think and I hope that the music I'm making now is more reflective of that. But But it's just like when I had written Growing Pains, I would listen to the stuff that I wrote when I was 14, and it was completely different. And it was just nice to hear for myself, like how I had grown up and how the music that I was writing was a reflection of that. So I think the stuff that I have been working on now is, I think there are parts of it that are the same, just because it's like, it's still the same person writing it. But I think it's different and more mature in a way, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, growing up, like when I was like really little and my parents would just play music for me and like expose me to like a bunch of different sounds, the one thing that they always like really kind of like drilled into me was just like how people can tell stories through music, and just like they had like a huge emphasis on storytelling, which like obviously I think was very formative and like shaped a lot of who I am and what I want to do. But I think just like learning the mechanics of storytelling like for the screen or for the stage has been really interesting. Thinking about how I kind of like naturally have done that through music without even like realizing it, like because the way that I approach songs is just like, it's just kind of like this like one isolated moment. But then I realized like later on, like, oh, that's like, it's a story in and of itself, and kind of learning about like like the formal ways of storytelling, there is just like a lot of overlap, but it's very different processes that I've taken to both, I guess. Yeah, I think I've gotten better over time at like fiction through songwriting. Definitely when I was younger, I just like didn't, that was like very foreign to me, and I was just kind of like, that felt like too much to juggle in terms of like writing a song. But I think over time I've like gotten a little bit better at that, which definitely also probably is credited to like the education that I've been getting with screenwriting. But I think like for me personally, songwriting has stayed the same, where it's just like, it just really feels like I'm just like writing in my diary. And then for some reason I'm like fine with everyone hearing it. But yeah, no, it's very just like, most of the time it's just like, this thing happened to me, or this is how I feel about this thing, and then it just like, I have to be kind of thoughtless about it for it to like come out the right way. And then it just does, and then it's there. Yes, I'm playing at the Fire in Philly on October 6th, yeah. And then, what is the festival called in? Flow State in Albany at the end of August.
Who said that?
Someone, it came to me, I don't know.